Has this ever happened to you? Wow, I really want to use my home computer, but I'm stuck in this place surrounded by computers like, say, a school computer lab or a library, and I just don't know what to do. I have an idea! I will remote desktop into my home computer from one of these. But how? Then boy do I have the solutions for you! I'm Chris Carlos, I like computers, and today I'll be looking over remote desktop software and comparing them to each other to find the ultimate one for your use case. Remote desktop software are programs that allow you to access one computer from another. There are many forms of remote desktops ranging from a simple terminal interface through something like SSH to a full-on low-latency video feed of another PC. Today, I'll be focusing on the latter form of remote desktop, as it's useful for more people than a simple command line is, and there's actual competition in this space, whereas SSH is a one-way road because it's an open standard. Several remote desktop software solutions will be tested and pitted against each other. The comments I make in this video are entirely subjective, but I will be trying to justify my opinion as much as possible. I run a poll here on the YouTube community tab about this topic, and I also recently uploaded a short video here on YouTube Shorts and on TikTok showing off a quick script that allows for quick remote desktop. While the TikTok comments didn't understand the assignment, so to speak, they gave me many ideas for what to include in this video. Along with the poll answers, the feedback really helped this project come together in one way or another, so I would like to thank everyone for participating in the conversation. I am not sponsored by anyone. No conflict of interest is involved. Without further ado, let's jump right into it with general purpose remote desktop software. Team. Okay, you all expected this to be first on the list, and there are many good reasons for that. Firstly, according to the YouTube poll, most of the people that answered it are most familiar with TeamViewer, even if it beats out the second most popular option by a very small margin. Secondly, it is accessible from every major OS. There's a client for Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, iOS, and even the web. There's also a portable version available for Windows, if it's just one that you don't want to install it. Thirdly, it's free for personal use, meaning you only need to pay for a license if you're using TeamViewer in a different setting, although which I'll get to later. Lastly, so it clears the hardware. But is it really the best? Right off the bat, for me, TeamViewer gets points for committing to the Apple Silicon native from the very beginning. I am an M1 Mac user, so I really appreciate it. Connecting to my Windows PC only took a couple of clicks after logging in. The cool thing about TeamViewer though is that I don't even have to log in at all. With just a computer ID and a password, you can connect to any device that has TeamViewer open from anywhere over the internet. Passwords are automatically generated every time the host system launches TeamViewer, even if unattended access is enabled. However, you can enable easy access, which allows you to connect to any of your devices without a password by logging into your account, although some may see this as a security risk. However, before adding any devices to my account, it asks me to verify whether I made the request via email, which is an extra layer of security that's pretty standard nowadays. Speaking of security, the connection protocol that TeamViewer uses is a proprietary one, and apparently uses port 5938, but not much is known about it other than that its traffic is encrypted using RSA 4096 public-private key exchange and AES 256-bit session encryption. It's not publicly documented, so when TeamViewer claims that your connection is secure, you'll just have to take their word for it. For what it's worth though, TeamViewer is not really known to be a security risk, and has been used by businesses for almost 20 years with very few cybersecurity incidents being associated with it. The latest one was in 2020, and the vulnerability was patched very quickly. When it comes to usability and reliability, TeamViewer is one of the most widely used remote desktop software, and for good reason. It just gets the job done. I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't look the best, nor does it feel the best to use, but it's not designed to be flashy. What's that? A family member or a friend needs tech support? No problem, just tell them to install TeamViewer and give you their ID and password, and you're in. Actually, chances are they already have it installed because it's just so dang popular. You can always rely on TeamViewer to try to fight its way through even the most unreliable of connections, even if that means that quality will suffer. It also has some built-in communication features such as text and voice chat, but honestly I've never used these and they seem very outdated. One issue that I haven't run into myself, but my friend Chris Miniotis brought up, is that TeamViewer Business and TeamViewer Personal are the same product, despite one being paid and the other being free. As such, TeamViewer might sometimes mistakenly declare that you're using TeamViewer for business and limit your sessions to 1 minute if you use it too much, which is frankly very annoying and anti-consumer. For example, if you have a home server and you're running TeamViewer on it, never turning off the server might trip TeamViewer's usage detection thing and limit your sessions. TeamViewer's definition of what business use entails is so broad that legitimate home use cases like this fall under the category despite being, well, home use. And TeamViewer, the company, is notoriously difficult to negotiate with, perhaps on purpose, when it comes to such issues. They want you to pay. Even paying customers, though, have been known to have frequent complaints. It's just one of TeamViewer's anti-consumer behaviors, but for now I'll overlook it for the sake of testing the actual software. Video quality is alright. I've had mixed experiences. When connecting from my Mac to my Windows desktop on the same network, there's very little latency and the video and audio quality are great aside from a few weird graphic glitches I've encountered. However, when I connected from that same Windows PC to the Mac, for some reason it all went downhill. Look at this. Observe. Feast thine eyes upon this video unfolding in front of you and tell me that it doesn't look like crap. It does, there's no way around it. I don't know why this happens. I mean, I even tried disabling the background and changing the quality setting, but it's either gonna look like crap or it's gonna lag like hell while still looking like crap, with no in between. It still gets the job done, don't get me wrong, but it's far from a good experience. Also, there's no sound when connecting to macOS hosts because of how macOS screen capture works. Other remote desktop and screen sharing solutions have found ways around this, but not TeamViewer. Let's test platform support. I installed TeamViewer Remote Control on my Android phone, which is only one of 6 TeamViewer apps on Android, each being used for a slightly different purpose. Connecting from my Android phone to my Windows PC was once again very easy, but the experience was mediocre at best and just horrible at worst. I mean, you can't expect a 6-inch device with nothing but a touchscreen to try to replace the functions of a mouse and keyboard, but janky controls aside, it was just very finicky and laggy, which makes no sense, as these devices are all on the same network. Watching a YouTube video worked for a little while, but then froze up on me for no apparent reason, so this is definitely not suitable for media consumption or gaming.
Girlfriend?
Kinda generally works, but it's just there to get the job done. I don't understand why Android to Windows works so badly when Mac to Windows works flawlessly, and I'm pretty sure the platform inconsistency is just random and continues beyond this. Just to exhaust all my options, I installed TeamViewer Host on my Android phone as well, but I couldn't get it to work. Maybe I have to install a third app to get the second app to work, or maybe I just have to install all 6 and pray to Cthulhu. I don't know. I won't bother. Overall, I appreciate TeamViewer's effort to provide options. However, I think sometimes their software ends up being finicky and unreliable as a result of trying to support so many platforms. There's no consistency between platforms, and I wish they'd document their software better and be more honest about how well it works under what conditions. With that out of the way, it's time to show the average viewer that there are more options than just TeamViewer. Let's move on to their most popular competitor, AnyDesk. AnyDesk is another piece of software that was highly praised in its YouTube poll. However, after trying it, I can confidently say that there is no real reason to use it unless you've gotten limited by TeamViewer. It essentially offers the same features as TeamViewer, but somehow manages to be even slower. Disgustingly so, in fact. You're going to need a lot of patience if you're planning to do more than 5 clicks a minute on AnyDesk. If you're actually using the software commercially, AnyDesk has substantially cheaper pricing models than TeamViewer. But you get what you pay for. I think the footage you're seeing speaks for itself. There's no real way to make this look or work better than it is. Oh, and by the way, the footage is sped up. Its security protocol is less secure than TeamViewer's too, which is baffling in and of itself, considering that the security trade-off doesn't result in a faster connection. Basically, it's TeamViewer from Wish.com. I'm sorry, AnyDesk fans, I really cannot justify spending more time on this one. But what if you didn't have to install third-party programs to remote link your computer? Let's check out the 3 major desktop OS first-party solutions, starting with none other than Microsoft Remote Desktop. Yep, the built-in remote desktop software on Microsoft Windows. Not only was this the second most popular option in the YouTube poll, even being first for most of the polls run, But the TikTok comments on that short video were very quick to point out that my solution was needless when Microsoft Remote Desktop exists. Let's take a look. Is it all it's made out to be by its diehard fans? Immediately upon starting my research, I noticed Microsoft Remote Desktop is only available in the Pro and Enterprise versions of Windows. Automatically then, this lets us know that this software is not made for casual use, and many people are practically locked out of using it. Strike one. Microsoft clownery aside, Remote Desktop has official clients for Windows, macOS, Android, iOS, and the web. On Linux, you can use Remina instead, which can interface with Microsoft Remote Desktop. Sadly though, but perhaps predictably, hosting is only available on Windows systems running an aforementioned Pro or Enterprise version. I can only test this one way then, connecting from my Mac or my phone into my Windows PC. Strike two. The power of Microsoft Remote Desktop becomes apparent when using general-purpose software, like Office suites or sysadmin tools, from another device on the same network. Latency is kept to a minimum, and the text and any UI elements are as sharp as your host OS would typically be, because Remote Desktop adjusts the resolution to match the client's display. On a MacBook, or just anything with a Retina display, it can even optimize for it, and the macOS client is also M1 native, which is a huge plus for me. Microsoft Remote Desktop integrates natively with Windows, and you can even pass through devices like your microphone, webcam, printers, and storage on supported devices. Sheesh. This is especially handy with iOS and Android devices if you don't have a webcam on your computer. Although I've had a rocky experience with this feature. Sharing an iPad's microphone to a Windows PC and using it on Discord resulted in a choppy, unintelligible robot voice, so I can't really guarantee that this feature works all the time. The webcam was fine though, and hey, if you've ever wondered what it's like to use Windows with a touchscreen, Microsoft Remote Desktop is the best way to try it out. Unfortunately, Remote Desktop comes with a number of downsides because of the protocol's nature. The protocol, named RDP, is pretty old, and it's really starting to show its age and its limitations. It requires port 3398 to be open in order to connect, as it was designed for local networks like businesses where there's no firewall between devices. This is fine in your home network if you're just in the other room, but it can be a nightmare if you're trying to connect from outside your local network. Port forwarding is an option, but it's a significant cybersecurity risk. I mean, you're literally opening a port to your IP address to the public internet. Not fun. Another option would be self-hosting a VPN for your home network, but that's outside of the scope of this video. Adding to the quirks, when you connect to your RDP session, Windows will disconnect your main screen from your user. This means you can't be using your machine both physically and through Remote Desktop at the same time. Finally, the compression algorithm of RDP is outdated and cannot keep up with any sort of video or game. Because of these issues, RDP can only be used